Hello everyone, welcome to the profile.txt. This is the profile that was collected when we ran the profiler inside of the decisions environment. This is going to contain the information about what was running and how long it took to execute. We're in step 3 of the performance testing process currently. So we are going to be utilizing the profiler in order to understand what is taking the longest inside of our recipe dashboard and its actions and flows. So if you recall, everything in the profiler is ordered from longest time to least amount of time in descending order. So we're going to take a look at the longest executing process first. And we are going to utilize the tips and tricks that we learned when we were going through the reading profilers section. So let's take a look over here. It looks like this first service overall took 69 seconds to execute. And time without children would be 0, which makes sense. We're talking about the service as a whole, and it executed 21 times. Let's go down a little bit more. We have the report view service, build report view info. That's giving us an indication that this is most likely a report that's executing. We can keep scrolling down, and we have an item fetch recipes. It's a service, and it looks like the total time it takes is 60 seconds, and the time without children is 12 milliseconds. This discrepancy is very large. So it looks like our process is occurring somewhere within this fetch recipes item. Let's keep going down, and we have a calculate cook time that is a type flow. So this is a flow that's executing. It takes 60 seconds to execute, and the time without children is 0. Therefore, it is pretty safe to conclude that this flow is probably what is taking the most amount of time. It was executed 4 times, and each time it executed, it took 15 seconds to load. We will keep scrolling down, and now we can get into some of the individual steps here. It looks like we have a delay next step and a fetch entities. This delay next step is actually taking most of the total time in the flow. So this is most likely our big culprit right here. So we'll want to start looking inside of the calculate cook time flow and check the delay next step. And then below here we have a fetch entities that is taking about half a second to execute. So that might be something that could be optimized. We'll want to check both, but it does seem like our major time consumer is going to be this step here. Now, something that's important to note about this is just because you have found the step which is causing the problems, that does not mean that you know why the step is causing the problems. As mentioned before, the profiler can tell you where the problem is located, but it does not tell you why it's occurring there. So we'll have to check that out in the next video as far as why this is taking so much time, though given the step name, we can probably intuit that. Looks like we don't have a lot else that is taking a lot of time inside of this. So I'm going to go over to the next section, and I have a little trick for this. I like using Control F and looking for a lot of hyphens because these are used to separate the sections. So I can just use this now in my search bar to scroll between different services or processes that are occurring. So let's look at our next one. Item running flow from API recipe backlog flow. It looks like this one takes about 2 seconds to execute, which is not nearly as long as the other one, but 2 seconds is still a good bit of time. So let's go into it. So we're going to look inside of our recipe backlog flow, which is right here. The total time it took to execute is 4 seconds about, and the time without children is 3 milliseconds. So it looks like this flow is causing most of our delay for this method in total. The delay next step looks like it's taking up quite a bit of this, but we also have a run flows for list step that's executing. This looks like it's taking about 13 milliseconds to execute, so not a significant amount of time. Item, get all from backlog. This is showing the queries that are executing in order to achieve this particular step's functionality. So let's keep going down. We have an end step, a start step, and a create data step. We also have a work backlog flow that's taking around 2 seconds to execute. Let's take a look at this. So this is executing the work backlog item flow. Time without children would be 1 millisecond compared to the 2 seconds it takes in total. So this is taking some time as well. We have a backlog fetch, which is a REST service method. And it looks like that is taking around 2 seconds to execute. In addition, we also have a JSON deserialized step in here. However, we don't have any additional information on this. You'll notice that's because both of these total times are less than 5 milliseconds, and we told the profiler just to summarize events that take less than 5 milliseconds. Therefore, we just see that they executed, not how much time they took or what individual services or methods are being run in them. And then below this, it looks like all of the other services, because this would be the next one, is 99 milliseconds. So anything below it is most likely going to take less time. We can confirm this by going to the next one, and sure enough. So all of these are taking less than 1/10 of a second to execute. So these are our two primary culprits up here that we want to investigate. So that is going to be the calculate cook time flow and the recipe backlog flow. So we're going to look into those in the next video to identify these problems that are occurring. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope this helped.